Of curious teachers and seekers dedicated to the collective growth and understanding. Each glossy edition is a portal to expand awareness, featuring the latest in metaphysical and holistic products, services, events, and books. Let our engaging articles and comprehensive practitioner directory guide you on your journey towards higher consciousness. With every issue, raise your vibration and deepen your connection to the universe, one enlightening read at a time. Subscribe today at edgemagazine.net/subscribe and embark on a transformative exploration here, there, and everywhere. Hello, everybody. It is Kelly and Kim. Hey, Kim, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Kelly. How are you?
I'm doing well. Okay, we are back. We are part 3 of 3. Okay, you guys, I'm in a new room and a new this and that, and everything's flipped backwards and forwards. So I'm just gonna do remember Chuck Willery, how he did the 2 for 2?
Oh, yeah.
2 for 2, right? We're gonna do a 3 for 3. 3 for 3. Okay.
I love it. I love it.
Oh my gosh, hello, Chuck Willery. Is he still alive? I don't know. Whatever. Hello, Chuck. Okay. So June 12th, we've been doing this beautiful series, and I've been hearing great things from the community about it. And today we're going to be talking about your new era strategies. The new era requires the soul to lead. I'm going to stop with that and say, Kim, go.
Right? I mean, that's the thing. So, here we are in June. I can say it, right? Because we're live, and even if you listen to this later, June, I've been titling it "The Breach," where think about it as a whale comes up over the ocean surface, and anybody who's been on a whale watch, you go like, ooh, ah, right? So underneath the surface, there is so much nutrients, so much love, so much support. There's a buoyancy, right? And that's your soul, and your soul is ready to come out and be heard, because the soul is super patient and wise and kind, and the soul has been waiting. The soul has been, underneath the surface, swimming around, gathering all its wisdom and what have you. And now with the energies the way they are, with where we are as a society, our collective consciousness, the soul has said, now it's time. Now I'm going to burst through the surface. Your soul truth, your soul path, your soul mission, your soul purpose, whatever wording you want to use, is at the ready for you, right there on the surface. If you can quiet and listen.
Ooh, that's a big if.
I know. It's really hard. I mean, what did you just get, babe?
You can't make this up.
Oh, no, 100%. I just got the Prosper card too, right? And I had gotten it last week. And so last week I had done the big money in the new era, because people want evidence. People are looking for the physical aspect of these etheric inklings and nudges, right? For those of us who have been doing this work for a really long time, we've got our rhythm. We've got our mechanism for walking. It is changed a little bit because there are so many more people ready. And so it does take us and shift us just a bit. So we also have to take a hot minute and say, okay, close our eyes, and we're going to breathe, and we're going to remind ourselves of the vast magnificence of who we are. We have fathoms and depths, and we have a well of wisdom that is almost bottomless. And we can tap into it anytime, no matter if we're driving the kids to school, or we're looking at our emails, or frustrated about something in technology. We still have that well of wisdom. It doesn't go anywhere just because we're working on something that happens to be a little bit more immediate or a little bit more practical.
So last week when we ended, we talked about Steve's signature, and
yes,
I really want to invite everyone to go to your star map to success.com and take the quiz. I'm not just doing this because Kim's here. It's great. And I've actually gone through little things in life, and I'll go back to your guide and go, oh, yep, that's me. So Steve is a creative superstar.
Yep.
Which I thought he was a wise strategist, and woo,
Right. But here's the key for this. We're talking about the soul. And so the reason why I came up with the quiz and I do the work the way I do it is so that not everybody has to come in and sit in front of me so I can channel the voice of your soul and as I walk into your stars, right? Because from a scalability perspective, from a let's help and make impact in the world, I wanted to have things that were you fit in your back pocket, right? Like I'm always about that, right? So with the 12 question quiz, you get your preference, your choice, your free will, and how you energetically enter the world, right? So the reason why you thought Steve was a wise strategist was because of his sun sign, the core of him, the strength of him, that's very earthy. And so wise strategists are very earthy, very logical, very practical, very linear. But yet the way he wants to enter the world is much more fluid and creative and influencing and design and beauty and making impact from that perspective. So this is why I don't just take your sun sign. I take your sun sign plus your signature that we get from the quiz. And that's what I do in my group program. And that's what makes it so informative. Yesterday, we just did cash flow. And so we went through this epic regeneration through all the soul through time and space. And we did a beautiful ritual to take the energies and relieve them and to bring abundance forth the way it may have been blocked before. And I did it through both things. I did it through the sun sign and I did it through the signature, because our sun sign is the core of who we are, but the signature is how we want to do things. So the way we make decisions, the way we handle self-care, the way we communicate, the way we market, the way we sell, the way we have a relationship with money is all based on our own energy and our choice. And it's also based on what we chose when we came in as a sun sign. It's also based on the subconscious. It's also based on things that happen to be sticky in that. And that's why going beneath the surface is so incredibly imperative to do. And yet there's a practicality.
Right.
There's a practicality. We have to get stuff done. Today is Wednesday. We have stuff to do. We have things on our to-do list. We have a calendar. We have this live stream going on. We have our mics. We have our cameras. There's a practical nature to things. And this is why I combine the stars plus your signature plus strategy and everything that I do.
And I was in the middle of your 3-day last week,
Mm-hmm.
and when you were talking about the ancestral, and that just hit me like a lightning bolt of just, oh, this isn't just mine. This is
oh my God, 100%,
right?
right? So we've all traveled through time and space. So that's what I did. It was a free 3-part series, right? And if we want to put that, I'm leaving it open for another week, because I want everybody who is interested in it to be able to go ahead and go through it. So that was epic. I was crying. People were crying on day 3. I don't know if you were there on day 3. That was ancestral. What I did in the group, the Rich and Powerful Leaders group, I went through the soul DNA. So I went through all the past life DNA. It's not that I was trying to hold back. It's just you can't do them both at the same time. They have a different energetic stickiness. So you want to be able to separate them and give your body the meridian 24, 48, 72, whatever number of hours to be able to imprint and integrate, because that's really important.
I love the word sticky. Tell me more about that word, because that is so powerful in what we're talking about today.
Yeah. So when you walk, because I've walked into a million people's energy, right? Like, I mean, I literally have. So what you tend to find when you're a spacewalker and a time walker, what you tend to recognize is that the things that are heavier, the things that are weightier, the things that are quite frankly in the negative. And negative means that it's holding you back in some way. You're not able to reach your full potential. You're not able to really align with your soul mission, right? Because your soul doesn't have that inkiness when it comes from the oversoul source, right? That's all pure and all open. We as humans with this karmic duality that we've chosen to live on here in this dimension understand and appreciate that we have chosen to have certain foibles, if you will, certain challenges, certain opportunities that we've said yes to, and then we want to be able to work through them. Some of them are conscious and some of them are not. Some of them we don't even know that they're there. So when I'm walking, Kelly, it's sticky. So what can happen is, like, and I've instructed a lot of people on how to do work in the healing realm. That's one of the things that I've done. And so what ends up happening is the quote unquote negative comes first. So what I'll always ask is like, and I'll always say, like, some people get really quote unquote hung up and have judgment and perception, and their own wounding comes into effect. And so they'll weight something. And so that stickiness to me is a more general, more accessible, more available energy. Yesterday, I was talking about the Crusades. I was talking about the famines. I was talking about wars and violence and suppression and domestic violence and abuse. I was talking about all those things, right? Because what did I want to do? I wanted to allow that stickiness to come up and be at the surface so it didn't have so much glue, right? Because then I went in and did the massive healing so that we could then relieve that, right? So there is, I don't want to negate story. I don't want to negate fact. I don't want to negate any of those things. But bearing witness to something means becoming aware of it. And then healing it means to let it go, to let it dissolve, mitigate, release, to get some relief from it.
It's almost like I'm seeing like you magnetize it, so then you can do, and then process it, and then either let it go, like you said, dissolve, say, okay, that's beautiful. Okay.
Yeah. And if somebody's soul lesson, if somebody needs to wrangle with that, and somebody needs to actually go into it and much more import and weightiness, then that's going to happen. Because we each have the ability from a higher self perspective to say, yes, I'm ready. No, I'm not ready. So if you have a healer in front of you, that healer is not going to be able to facilitate your healing beyond your ability to receive it.
There's a show right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're inviting for the first, I think the first time ever, our souls to lead. That is just powerful. So how do we ensure this happens with your stars and your signatures and the strategies?
Yeah. So here's the thing. We do want to create moments where the soul can be heard, right? The soul and the heart are so incredibly patient. They're like the wise men and women just sitting in the corner, just literally with like beautiful, like benevolence, just looking at you and just wonderfully loving you and being super, super kind, awaiting your attention. The stars are what's really urging us to get going here, right? The stars are that power, like, hurry up. And what's happening with people is that there are things that aren't working out, because again, we tend to notice the stickiness more than we notice the flow, right? So if something's not working, if people are having sales that aren't working the way they want it to, or their teams aren't working the way they want it to, or their technology isn't working the way they want it to, they then stop and say, well, it's not working, let me fix it. Versus if everything's in the flow and everything's super groovy, we're like, great, everything's in the flow and super groovy. I don't need to stop and listen to my soul. So the soul is go ahead.
Well, no, but just touching on that, because I think a lot of people are feeling it, and entrepreneurs going in the right direction with the right people and the right resources. What does this mean on a soul level? What does this mean on a business level? And what does this mean for entrepreneurs?
100%. So at the soul level, guess what? You can live 100 decades and your soul's totally fine. Your soul's like, I love you. You're totally groovy. Whether you did nothing that you intended to do from a soul perspective or not, you're so good. We love you. Big, fat, juicy hugs at the end of the day, right? The soul has no judgment. So where the judgment comes in is in our minds. The judgment comes in our bodies. The judgment comes in our physical life. That's where we can look at if we are not happy with the money that we're making, if we don't love the way we've shown up and been visible or not, if we're not accepting our power and our authority, if we don't feel passionate about our work, if we are not fulfilled at the end of the day, right? If we don't have moments of satisfaction with whatever it is that we're doing on a regular basis. That's the impression that we have, that we want to then make sure we are on the right path. Because I will tell you, if you are aligned with your soul mission, two things are going to happen. Number one, it's the scariest thing you've ever done in your life. So if you haven't been petrified, you're not on your soul mission. I can just tell you that for fact. Your soul mission knocks you to the knees, and like literally you are weeping, saying, are you kidding me right now? I have to do that. So Kelly, do you want to share? Because you were like,
On
me. I get it. I know
on
that.
what level? Like every
Right?
day, every
Yeah.
day is like that lately. And it's and I think people think when you're on your soul mission, you're like, "Ooh, I'm going to be in flow and everything's going to be amazing and rainbows and unicorns." It's hard shit.
It
It's
is. It's
scary. It's and I
terrifying.
people that know me, they know that I'm being very honest right now. It's crazy and it's interesting. You kind of find your flow and then you either pivot or it's time to level up or
Yeah.
scale as
Yeah.
our beautiful friend Krista would help us.
Yeah.
And and then it's like, "Oh my." I mean, we're having we have our magazine. We're exploring other paper options. Who knew, right?
Right.
And now we're sitting here going, "Do we print more or do we have a nicer beautiful magazine?" They're
Right.
both value. They both
Right.
offer amazingness. I'm now leaning for maybe a savings of paper, but see, I'm married to an artist. So,
Right.
hello
The creative
everybody. Like,
superstar.
right?
The creative superstar.
Creative superstar, right? But then with the money that we could reinvest, we could go beyond 30 states and we could have more drop spots. And I have new opportunities in grocery stores. People go to grocery stores. I have
Right.
opportunities in Southern California with Whole Foods, but it takes abundance and it takes
Right.
resources and it takes time and it takes strategy because you can't just go, "Hey, I'm just going to send a whole bunch of magazines to Whole Foods and they're just going to happen to show up." Yay! Right?
Right.
And it's all of that that not everybody thinks about. And that's just my little world. And I think everyone could dial in and share their thoughts. And right. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to take two lenses for this. I'm going to go to the
Go for
practical
it.
lens.
Yeah.
That's the number two most common problem with entrepreneurs is balancing quality and scale. Number two. Only behind allocating the right resources, like literally. So this is like entrepreneurs everywhere. This is number two. So from a practical perspective, yay you for a growing entrepreneur, because that's one of the biggest problems, right? So, right. And then I'll take it from the soul lens. Here's the thing with the soul. The soul is all about your maximum potential. So it's always going to be opening. It's never going to stop. Like literally, I had the conversation last week with somebody like, I want to give my soul a timeout. Like, I'm sorry. Because, you know, well, so I'm going to overshare just for a second.
I think
So
I just peed my pants a little bit. Please overshare. Hold on. Let me regroup. Okay, now we're back.
Yeah. So no, but right, because I was talking to somebody. So I'm landing a legit divination system, right? I've got a program. I am doing lives. I've got massive audience. I'm doing all these things. We're writing for the Edge. We're doing all the, like I say we. It's like the merry band of me because I'm the one channeling, right? So here I am channeling la la la. So I'm doing a big packet of. We've done 60 podcasts. I think 50, either 58 or 59 are published right now since January. And that's just one thing I'm doing, right? Because my soul was like, you will do a podcast, right? I'm like, yes, sir. Okay, so doing that. So I'm going ahead and going into the full moon. I just did Money in the New Era. We're doing this whole New Era series. I am setting up a whole thing for a press release because the media is waiting for this. They're waiting for information from me. They've been waiting for a few weeks. So I'm like behind on that, right? I've got a group that wants me to go in and help people to develop their intuition, right? So it's all these possibilities, all these right things. I'm discerning. No worries. I'm discerning. I'm yes, what? Yes, no. I listen to my soul. All of a sudden, I'm doing the new moon, and I know I'm setting up something for Lionsgate because it's a big open portal that I'm going to activate that first week of August. And so I'm stirring that with the full moon that's coming up, and like stirring. All of a sudden, Lilith comes in. Right now, Lilith is my jam. So Lilith, the black moon goddess, comes in, and she's like, "It's time." I'm like, I just channeled the new era messages, right? So I'm like, "What time for what?" She's like, "It's time for me." And that's literally where I said to my soul, I'm like, could you just wait a beat? Because I've got the money, information, cash flow came in differently. I've got, the new era. I've got a book that I'm writing. I've got the divination system I'm landing. I've got the podcast I'm doing. No, Black Lilith is like, you will do the moon goddesses. You're going to do it through the lens of Jupiter and go ahead. So I did it with 3 clients yesterday just to see if it made sense. It does make tremendous sense. So now I'm trying to figure out where that fits. Yeah. Souls, maximum potential, always.
I see that you were driving the school bus and you had everybody totally, okay, hush, you had everybody under control. And then Black Lilith pulled up in a limo right in front of you and just screeched it, pulled the e-brake and was like, hello.
Hello,
Hello.
here I am. And I
Hello.
adore her. She sits on my son, so I adore her. I know her energy really well. It's not that. It's where and how and what makes sense. And you don't want to just be confusing to the marketplace. You don't want to just take your clients and say, well, let's just do the tumble and spin all the time. And also, too, I do want to say something because it came up with clients last week. When you are aligned with your soul mission and you're allowing your soul to lead, recognize that what we're saying is true. There will always be potential available to you. You have discernment. You have timing too. So I just made the decision. The book is going to come out next April versus October. Gave me tons of relief because
Yeah.
when I did my soul assessment, it was like, well, it's like, nope, it's now, it's 2024. I'm like, okay, that we're so good. I will allow that information to unfurl and unfold over the fall. So that's really beautiful. But when you're thinking about potential in its maximum effect, overwhelm can set in. And so what you do is you build a bridge between potential and overwhelm. So what did I just do? I just
And it
explained
can't be a
exactly
creaky
how,
bridge. It's got to be
right?
a
So
nice, solid
but
bridge.
it can be whatever the bridge is. At first it is creaky. At first it doesn't feel right? So think about that. Quality of scale. You're building a bridge between the two. The
Yeah.
soul and your practical, self, you're building the bridge between the two. The magazine, the print quality and the availability, you're building a bridge between the two. The bridge can be time. The bridge can be resource. The bridge can be investment in more people. The bridge can be no. You don't have, just because your soul says all of this is available to you doesn't mean you have to say yes to it all. You don't. You have free will. That's the gift and beauty of being alive.
Okay, everybody, we're gonna take a party time out. No, I'm just kidding. let's just let that like marinate for just a moment. Okay, you have come up with a very powerful and simple method of know, like, trust. How does that work to actually solve problems? And let's revisit know, like, trust to the audience again because it's really, really powerful. Because it just, I'm go.
No worries. Okay. So when I was, ruminating, pondering, wondering in meditation over a handful of months in 2020, to be honest with you, how do I measure like where you are in your soul mission? Like, how do we track how you're energetically showing up? Like, how do we help develop your intuition in practical ways? Because quite frankly, I was sick of the go meditate, go do yoga, go visit a spa. I'm sorry, that's not helpful to most of the people that I know. I work with visionary entrepreneurs who are wildly successful. I do not tell them to go sit down and meditate. That does not happen. There's very few of them. I come up with different ways. And one of the ways that I did was I was just in the energy of who knows what I was in the energy of, but I was in the energy of something. And all of a sudden, the marketing factor of your customers needing to know, like, and trust you came in. And I realized we need to invert that. And we need to know ourselves, like ourselves, and trust ourselves. And that's the mind, the heart, and the will. And so when I've applied this now for 4 years, and I've applied it in probably 1,000 different ways, and it never, ever, ever changes. The only thing that changes is a different lens, a different way to look at it, a different invitation for people, right? So when I talk about going in the right direction, that's you knowing, that's you opening up your mind, you clearing your mind, getting rid of those mind games and distractions. Why? So you can listen and hear to see what your soul has to say. When you like yourself, you're talking about satisfaction and appreciation and adoration and recognition, and there's a really fulfilling element to the heart, and it's about beautifully connecting. Are
How
you
many people don't actually like themselves?
a million? That's one of my big things. And I have this by the signatures. I've literally applied this percentage wise by the signatures. Intuitive visionaries, of which I am one, they know themselves really, really well. They trust themselves pretty well. They like themselves the least. They often, and you can see it with self-care, they often do not take care of themselves. They're energizer bunnies. They love the ideas. They'll continue to keep working. So when I am operating in my discernment, and I was talking to Black Lilith last week, I was like, will this give me joy or will this provide relief? Those are the two questions I ask myself. So if you're along the like, will I be satisfied? Those are the two questions: joy and relief.
Those are beautiful ones too, right?
Yeah. Because the no
Because
one,
relief can also open doors to joy, and joy can, so they partner together. They
there's
flow
the yin,
together well.
there's the yin and the yang, right? So the knowing is this going to give me clarity? Is this for a direction and purpose, or is this going to be open me up to wonder? Is this going to be curious? You're talking about, I'm talking to the right person about this, right? Is this going to satisfy my curiosity? Am I going to be on the discovery exploration? That's the no. And on the trust side, when you don't trust, that's where lack comes in. That's where struggle comes in. That's where, you're not really showing up. You're not really that visible. That's how that looks. And when you're in that trusting, it's, what am I creating? Am I creating chaos, or am I creating peace and ease and freedom?
Do you have to get through the chaos to be able to get to the ease and the peace?
Not everybody. Some people
Okay.
do. Some people do. It depends on their own imprint, right? So there are so many people, and I just joked about this in Rich and Powerful Leaders Academy yesterday. They're not my people. I get the people that are like weighed down and struggling and all the things, because that's just the depth of what I like to work in. Right. So it's something that I can mirror because I've come from that. Right. So that's fine. But there are some people, literally, it's like, and I will tell you that it's getting easier and easier for people, the more of us that are on this leading edge, and we are opening up information. We are opening up the connection. I was meeting with a client yesterday. She's in Australia, and she asked me, she said, is there so much information out? Like, am I going crazy? And she knows she's really intuitive. She's like, but I literally am getting messages like every 5 minutes. I'm like, oh no, they're constant. I'm like, they are so incredibly constant. And I used to have a rhythm to it. I used to be like, office hours are open, office hours aren't open, right? So I could have that doorway into getting practical things done. There's literally, the veil is so incredibly thin. It's so incredibly thin. So for me, I don't know about for you, Kelly, but like all the spirits that have passed, that's not really my jam. So I'm just like literally leaving gateways for them to be open, for them to go to where they want to go, and to be able to be, I'll be helpful, but that is going to be an open office hour scenario. But the creativity and the innovation on how to let the soul lead, that's all my jam. So I am totally open for business on that. And literally, I have my personal journal next to me all the time, because I'm constantly like, oh, okay, here's another thing. Oh, okay, here's another thing. Oh, hey,
Bubble machine. Bubble machine. I have
Mhm.
to always have. I'm now walking around with a Sharpie everywhere, because I just have to, because Sharpies can write on anything,
Yes, true.
including my, this actually, because I took a shower. It, like, the arm is being, like, all the time. It's and little pieces of paper. It's constantly. And when I'm in marketing sessions with people, I am like, nothing's precious. I'm a bubble machine, because
Yeah,
don't worry, the soap's there and they're just going to keep on flowing. And if this doesn't
yeah,
flow, do not take offense in any way, shape,
yeah.
or form. I'm also getting, when I'm blinking, almost a look of other dimensions. Like, I can close my eyes and I see it. It looks like, to me, like the Tron movies. So it's
Okay.
black with the neon lights. We'll talk about that one later, but that's just crazy. And it's very present. It's like these parallel worlds that are around us, and it's
I woke up to, my son and I were doing this. It was like back in 2021, and we recognized that the world only realizes like Avalon and Atlantis and Lemuria as part of like the earthly realm. There are at least 100 more, right? And so those have been unfolding and unwinding for a while. But I woke up this morning and there was another language coming in, and I was like, okay, let's just put that in my energetic imprint, because I can't even figure out if these are letters or not. So whatever needs to land, that's what I always say, just like whatever needs to land, I'll be more than happy to be the anchor for that landing. And you'll let me know if it's mine or not, because a lot of times it's not. It's just flowing through so it can be anchored, and then it can be gifted to whomever it actually is. Because the universal energy can't actually have imprint in the physical realm unless there's a person to say yes. So that's why we say yes. And then if it's yours, great. If it's not, also great. Can I show this?
Of course. Oh yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah, worlds within worlds, right? So we're going to work with this tomorrow. So this is a rainbow citrine for people who don't know. So citrine is a beautiful transmuting gorgeous prosperity energy. It's a creative energy. It does organize chaos. I mean, citrine for me, legit regular citrine is one of my like beautiful ones. This is rainbow citrine.
It's a daily driver.
Right? Like, but look at this. There are worlds within worlds here. I mean, sorry about the ring light, but there are worlds within this stone, right? So Kelly, if you are literally blinking and you're seeing Tron movies, the rainbow citrine will help you. I'm going to find one. I'm going to send one to you. So rainbow citrine will help you land that energy and give it form just on the earth.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. Well, and then you have the psychic medium aspect, and when I'm with clients now, and when you open it up, someone might say, I want to talk to my grandmother that just passed, and then you open the lighthouse and woo,
there are 1,000 people that are there knocking at the door.
They're like, hello.
So this is what I've been
rainbow
saying.
Citrine.
Right?
We're going to go back to rainbow citrine.
That could so help you. What I've been having a conversation with a lot, which I don't know why it's come up. I can't remember who I've been talking to, but the fact that we can have conversations, right? So we often forget, like we're often so in awe, like our soul's talking to us, yay, right? Like the universal spirit is like giving us information, and our minds are open enough and quiet enough to understand, right? And comprehend in some way, yay. And then we can remember it. So we are so awestruck in the most beautiful way that we often forget, we're like this, and we often forget, like, wait, we can have a conversation. Like literally, like, so I guess I've been doing this for so long that I'm always like when Lilith came, I'm like, what do you want?
Right. Right.
like,
and then you're like, oh God, she's here. So I really have got to listen.
I know. I literally,
it's like super exciting and it's amazing, but then it's also like, oh, I'm going to have to do something with this.
I was recording a podcast episode. So not that that's not abnormal. That's not abnormal at all. But normally it's just like, okay, yep. And I'll just, yep. No, this was I had to stop the episode. I have to re-record. I'd stop. You will listen. You will sit. I'm like, okay, what have we got? And then I have a channeled message. It's written on the back of the chart. Like I have a beautiful channeled message. I haven't read it. Only thing I remember is it's time. And I was like, oh, for crying out loud. I was just trying to put my book launch together. Nope. Okay.
No. And so much is going on. And then what you know about the rest of the year. Yeah, I mean, just it is a new era. I mean, and I'm so excited that you're partnering with the Edge and everybody else with it, because I think there's a lot of people that the old ways of doing things, I had to choose my earth words.
Yeah.
Are just, they're not working.
No.
They've run its course. That's it. And yeah, I'm starting to work with more and more people that just have a lot of material abundance.
Okay.
And they're doing everything right. Like they went to college, they got married, they have the kids, they have the career, and they're just like, that's the best way to describe it. They're just like,
yeah,
right? Oh, okay. There's got to be more. And they're like, oh yes, there's so much more.
Well, that's the soul is like, you're so ready, right? Like that's the thing. So I think of it like that popcorn. It's like when the heat gets to be that certain point, you're waiting for that one kernel to pop and the one does, and then the other one does. Well, that's so early 2000s and 2010s, right? Those one pop, two pop. Right now where we are, it's like which is beautiful. And I will say I'm being moved to really be discerning, like for everybody to be massively discerning, right? Because a lot of questions I get from people that are new to this space is, well, how do I know it's not my mind? Like, how do I know I'm not cuckoo? Number one, because this stuff can make you be crazy making. But number two, how do I know I'm just not like trying to convince myself of something? And what I always tell them is a few things. Number one, it's going to be an inkling and a whisper, and you're going to be like, wait, what? What was that? Right? So your mind is going to be in its linear form. It's going to give you a full sentence. If people come to me and they have a full sentence, and I'll ask them, so how is that materialized? Oh, I channeled it that way. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. If you're new to this, you absolutely did not, right? Because if it's in your own words and you can say it really easily, then it's not really, because that's your mind saying, oh, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that, and then we're going to do this, right? Great. That's a plan. That's not bad. It's just not your intuition. It's just not your soul talking to you, right? That's the first thing. The other thing is, it's going to scare you.
Yeah.
It is going to be like, what the literal bleep am I going to do with this now? How am I going to come out as a business strategist? And now I'm doing everything with astrology, number one, and a divination system. And now I've got to be cuckoo pants and talk about like black, dark, the new era. That was the first one. And then, yeah, yep, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out, and you will make it really practical. That wasn't my intuition. That was when I married my intuition with my mind. And that's where you get your brilliance and your genius. It's like, okay, now I'm going to work with my experience and my other imprinted energy and determine how to talk about the new era that then does feed into the signatures, and how the stars work with that. And then how do I still solve business problems for entrepreneurs? It took me about 6 months to figure that out, but I did it both in meditation and then practicing and then really kind of winnowing down and working with that intelligence that I have. So the other thing is, it's to be patient. Because if somebody says to me, oh, I landed this whole thing and it's perfect and I never have to look at it again, maybe. There are 1 in a million, like maybe 100%. I'm open for that. I can read the energy and I can tell you whether that's true or not, right? If it's not true, no worries. It's the start of something. It's the straw man. It's the wireframe. It's the, I wonder. That's the way I was at the end of 2020. What am I doing with these 6 signatures? I channeled all this information. What am I going to do? I was like, I have no idea. I have a quiz and that's about it. So it took some time to figure out, like, how does this really work? Does it energetically make sense? Can I solve the top 10 business problems in this way? Does the sun sign with this make sense? And you practice and you work with people and you test it out and you make sure that it isn't just a great idea, because there are some great ideas that just that they're not fully formed, or they're not yours, or it's not time. And so you want to be able to anchor it. You want to be able to open up to that full potential of it in practical ways.
And let them float away. Another thing that is just really coming to me is that universe will also give you other little baby signs.
Yeah.
For example, I've had 4 turtles cross my path in the last 3 days.
Oh, do you know why? Can I tell you why?
Tell me why. 4.
Have you listened to this week's forecast? Did you not listen to my podcast which said it's the turtle, not the hare this week? Slow and steady as she goes. I adore you.
We can't make this up, everybody.
Can't make this up. I had no idea that you knew that. Like, go listen to the podcast. Literally, it's number 58. I think it's 58. Yeah. Turtle versus the hare. And I don't use that terminology often. I wrote about the month of June, but yeah.
I mean, last night we're making dinner, it seems like, because we live on a hill on a lake. And he's like, Kelly, there's another turtle and it's diving for the lake. And I'm like, oh my God, that's number 4. That's number 4.
So here, and this is where the universe gifts you with other people giving you information, right? Like, so I can't remember what decision I was trying to make a few weeks ago, but I can't even remember what it was. But I got, it was to work with a certain practitioner. And I literally, at my mind was like, I'm doing it. It was kind of like one of those like, Arr! And then I got information from like 3 different people in 3 different ways. It was like not the right thing. But of course, stubborn. I was like, no, I can make it work. It's just scaring me. That's why I don't want to do it. It's just going to really push me to the edge. No, it was the wrong person. Legit. The first second I laid eyes on him, I'm like, oh, you're the wrong person. Okay, I'll pay you for the session and then I'm done. But why? I could have avoided that.
But then in the end, you probably really felt confident in your decision because you had all those whispers, because you had all of the, and then you came in and then you're like, oh yeah, okay. We get fast passes all the time, but are we supposed to take them?
I know. So, and this is something
sometimes yes, but
sometimes yes, right. And this is something that I'm really vulnerable about. This is about my physical body, right? So this is something that, right, like you and I have talked about this, and yeah. And so that's why I was like, no, I'm just nervous. No, I'm just scared. No, this is just unfamiliar. No, this could be the thing that really changes. I'm not ready for change. Right. This is where
Yeah,
I love
everybody,
you.
you're talking to two girls that really like we've even talked about like what's in our refrigerator and how we move. And we're both like scratching our head or like, how are these people eating McDonald's 3 meals a day and sitting on their bum and they're a size 2? And then
I
there's
know.
us who are really trying to be kind to these vessels and we just aren't. But oh
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a feeling a cash flow ritual could be really cool for our audience. What do you think about that?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
So, yes. So and that may have seemed like an awkward transition, right? So what you're mindful of the time, so I will be too. But when we talk about like using the universe and the energies and your intuition and your own energetic signature in practical ways, a beautiful way to do it is with power, is with money, is with marketing, like something really super tangible. And
Right.
this landed yesterday, so I wanted to share it with your audience. So money has an energy, money has a signature, money has all the imprint. I have a 3-day money thing. We're going to put the link in here. It's free for a week. Hopefully you can hop in. After that it's paid. It's not going to be a lot, but it's going to be paid.
You guys,
Because
it's really it's great. And I really what I found myself when I was doing it, I made my desk my standing desk and I just moved and I got on my yoga ball
love
and I
it.
was flow and I didn't just sit there and like this, but it felt good. And it's just it's a great 3 days. And Kim was so mindful of the time. It's 3 1 hour. It's really digestible. It's just I highly recommend it. Just give it a shot.
Awesome. And the last day, that ancestral clearing ritual, literally tears were brought to my eyes. It was on the new moon. I mean, it was just so powerful. And so when I was leading into my Rich and Powerful Leaders Academy, we just did managing cash flow uncertainties because that is the number 3 biggest problem for entrepreneurs, right? So I'm going to solve issues, right? So when I went into the energy of cash, so here we go, cash.
Money,
This
money,
100
money,
money,
money.
right? Money,
Okay, I
money,
can't sing.
money, right? No, neither can I. So cash. I will tell you, this $100 bill doesn't know the difference between the $1 bill. It doesn't know. The money doesn't. The money doesn't understand that this is a different value. We give the value to it. What I said yesterday, and everybody's eyes popped open, is that if you have an expense or debt versus a revenue or an asset, money doesn't know the difference. It doesn't know. Like if you have lots of debt and you have lots of expensive, money's like, I love you, babe. Like you're awesome sauce. I'm with you all the time. It doesn't recognize that it's something that you owe versus something coming in. So it's our energy that prevents the money from coming in
And when
versus
you're in
money
debt, you're
going out.
constantly thinking about it. You're constantly
And
like
so
you're
you're feeding
churning
it.
on it. You're
So the
feeding it.
money's befriending you and saying, I adore you. I'm going to give you more of that because that's what you're paying attention to. So I love you so much. So when I talked about cash itself, I did it in a way that was like, so let's do it right now. It's only going to take a
Okay.
few minutes. Okay. So I am going to invite everybody to close their eyes. And I would love for you to just think of money, right? Like just think of a beautiful $100 bill or 20,000 $100 bills, like $15, whatever you want. Just think of some money. Just allow it to be beautifully present in your sphere, in your aura, right? So have money sit right beside you. Have it literally just tuck itself in and just allow it to just be like cash is king and the flow is the queen. So just have those two beings sitting right next to you, right? And the beautiful cash flow. And then we're going to go into water. I want you to envision your favorite type of water. Is it diving in the ocean? Is it swimming in a lake? Is it standing in the mists of a rain? Is it stomping in puddles? Is it lying in a beautiful bathtub with lots of bubbles or under a moonlight or sunlight? Like whatever that water energy is that makes you feel buoyant, that soothes you, that gives you comfort, that feels so satisfying. It could be drinking water out of a glass. It could be taking a shower. Whatever way, just think about the way that you adore water, how it makes you feel quenched, refreshed, soothed, and again, uplifted. And now I want you to think of cash coming into your life, whether it's ringing the cash register, whether it's literally cash on numbers in your account, whether it's money in your hands. Cash is here for you. Cash. Total pure money cash. And it's flowing beautifully. However, you have entered into your relationship with that water. Water is viscous, water is physical, but water is also fluid. That matches the energy of cash flow. So the water creation that you just had is going to help you in that cash creation because they are the same energetic signature. So anytime you go into your mind and you're starting to worry about it, you're starting to think about, oh my God, put yourself in that beautiful, buoyant, water-based state. And then think about why you went into that one. The heat of the soothing, beautiful envelopment of a bath that's calm and still. The diving power of the ocean, and swimming around with the cyclic waves and the constant movement. The beautiful mist coming off the shore in a fog. That happened to be my favorite one. So there's a mystery there. There's an excitement. There's a surprise and delight with that. There's a cooling factor. Whether it's a beautiful thunderstorm, right? However you have thought of it, that's the way you like cash to come into your life. So Kelly, how did you think of water when you first were invited to think of water?
The ocean.
Yep, power. So you love power. You love the flow of it. You love the energy of it. You want it to come in big, massive forms. Good. Beautiful.
Right.
You want it to be a little salty.
And I love the salty.
Yeah.
And then when you said about the buoyancy, I saw myself, I'm on Kanapali Beach, of course, in Maui.
Yeah.
And I'm on the beach and I'm walking into the water and I'm feeling it. And then I'm just sitting and I'm buoyant and I'm looking around and I'm feeling the sun and I'm feeling the sun on my face and so I'm very much into the sun and then the salt and then the water and then the beach. And it's just, that's what I was
Beautiful.
seeing when you were saying that.
So you want to create time and space to put yourself in those moments whenever you start being concerned about cash. Mine is a cool, misty, like fog coming
Oh, I
in.
can see you in it. And
Right?
you're just
Can't
like,
you? I mean, it's like so, and I love watching it come. So for me, there's like a mystery to it. It's a slow, like all enveloping energy. So when I think about cash flow, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the way I actually sell. That's the way I actually bring cash into my life. Is that I walk into it. First I'll invite it. I create the elements in temperature for it. I invite it, and then I stand and I wait. And then it comes in, and then I engage with it. And then I get lost in it in the most beautiful way. I'm in the middle of a launch right now. I'm lost in the most beautiful way. I have these luscious conversations with people. I have all these things happening. I'm enveloped. It's beautiful. And that's the way I love it. So
and
go
I
ahead.
wanted to ask you this. After day 3 last week, of your beautiful 3-day, I decided to take my daughter for a pedicure. It was really funny.
Ooh.
It was like, yeah, she's just like, she doesn't like her feet. So I was like, okay, let's go get a pedicure.
Yeah.
And I'm at the place and we're soaking our feet. And this beautiful gentleman walks in and we're at one of the places that they're of Asian descent or Vietnamese, and English is not the first language. And this gentleman walks in and you can tell they were busy, but they weren't. And he's like, "Can I just soak my feet?" And they just completely shut the door on him. Just completely shut the door on him. And he's like, "Please, may I just soak my feet?" And then have a pedicure. And they were really closing the door energetically to them. And then I kind of did a little Kelly. And then all of a sudden they started to draw a bath for him. And they said, "Well, we're going to be an hour. We're going to be an hour." And he's like, "That's fine. I just want to sit and I just want to soak my feet." And he starts talking about how he used to play professional basketball like a long time ago. And we just start striking up a conversation. So we're wrapping up. I promise I'm not rambling. And I go back to where my daughter was and I bring the gentleman in that was running everything. And I said, "I want to pay for his pedicure. I want to pay for it." And the guy looks at me. He's like, "Are you serious?" And that's exactly what he said. And I said, of course. And I'll pay gratuity and I'll take care of it. And my daughter's looking at me and I don't have a ton of abundance right now just to be buying
Right.
strangers pedicures, but it just kept coming to me. Do this, do this, do this. And so going back to just trusting your intuition. And then I was like, is that just me? Is that me just trying nice? And it just kept coming to me. pay for it, pay for it, pay for it. So I took care of it and I walked out and I just walked out and I told him to have a nice day. And it felt so good. And I wanted to ask you, why did I go through your money ritual and then I'm buying strangers pedicures? I don't know. We'll talk about it later, but it's that flow. And then we're in water and it was in flow. I don't
It's
know.
100% in flow. And that's where generosity. So what I talked about growing and giving being the yin and the yang of those ways of money. I don't know if you remember from the first day, when you give, you grow. It goes hand in hand. This is an example of the ways that you're going to grow. And it's going to be unexpected and it's going to be really beautiful. And it's going to come from in a way from people that you don't even know. So that's going to be gorgeous.
And then I had a client ask if I wanted to go to Florida with her.
See?
So it was really weird. It was not weird. It was totally in a line. So just knowing what your 3-day did, and then it just got me spurred. And I hope the guy's toes look fantastic.
I bet they do. I bet they do. And he probably has like that was such a moment for him. I bet people don't normally do things like that, right?
No, that's what I got.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
It was just a little something, and I was like, I thank you for answering that. And of course, we're doing it live on
Of course.
But I think real life moments really resonate with people.
Yeah,
and that was definitely a real life moment. Well, thank you for that money ritual. That's just flowing. Okay, how do people work with you as we wrap up?
Yeah. So if you want to, we're going to put the link in to go to the 3-day money era series, which will be again gifted for the next week or so. And if not, like if you want to just listen, just be like a listener, go to kimwoods.com podcast and listen to a few podcast episodes, because that's where you'll get a feel for. There's like 2 to 3 minute ones about the signatures. There's 2 to 3 minute ones for the week. There's longer ones, 20 minutes, half an hour ones about the new era. We're going to be launching those, and about strategies for business, about the full and new moon. I always do ritual there, about major star events. And so take a listen. Take a gander.
So what's coming up over the next couple of months? We've got some full moons, but then also Lionsgate. What do you have planned for Lionsgate?
So I'm going to be doing a workshop. It is going to be a paid workshop for Lionsgate. It's going to be 3 hours, and we're going to be going apparently through I was not planning on the moon goddesses, but apparently we're going to do something with that. So the Lionsgate, when I opened it last year, we're readying for this year, because last year was a 7-year energy. This is an 8-year energy. And so 8, and it's not an 8, but from a numerological perspective, it is an 8. So 888 is filled with abundance. We're going to do lots of yin, lots of yang. We're always going to do something with the signatures. We're always going to do things with the stars, but there's going to be an activation for you. I've been talking about 2024 being the opening for the next 20 years. And we're going to do an activation for it to ready you to make sure you're on the right trajectory. You're energetically aligned in the right way for you, and that you can open to attract the right people and resources into your life that have your best interest at heart.
There's another show right there. Bam. Okay, Kim, always a pleasure. I think we're going to be doing these series over. I know that we only did the 3-part, but I think I feel something brewing. So everybody stay tuned. Kim, always, thank you so much. Check out your latest Edge magazine. I should have one, but I don't. But I have Kim's card, so we have that. And Kim's going to be really a part of our platform, and I really trust her. I trust her guidance. I really think she's a good person, good soul. And so she's going to be in the magazine. Check out the website. We're going to be doing more of these series. Kim came into my world for some reason, and I know it's not only for my own personal benefit, but it's to share her with you. And it is an honor. And thank you. Until next time. Elevate your consciousness with each issue of the Edge magazine, delivered straight to your doorstep. Immerse yourself in a community of curious teachers and seekers dedicated to the collective growth and understanding. Each glossy edition is a portal to expand awareness, featuring the latest in metaphysical and holistic products, services, events, and books. Let our engaging articles and comprehensive practitioner directory guide you on your journey towards higher consciousness. With every issue, raise your vibration and deepen your connection to the universe. One enlightening